The Galactic Council's xenobiology lab hummed with the soft whir of containment fields and the occasional chirp of monitoring equipment. Commander Zyrax stood with her forearms crossed, her chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the sterile white lights. She was a Krell warrior scientist, bred for combat and intellect in equal measure, her species known across 17 star systems as the apex of physical evolution. And then there was Dr. Cale Arden. The human sat hunched over a datapad, his thin fingers dancing across the holographic interface. To Zyrax, he looked like he might snap in half if she breathed too hard in his direction. His bones, those pathetic calcium deposits that somehow held him upright, seemed impossibly delicate compared to her reinforced carapace. When he'd first arrived at the station 3 months ago, she'd actually laughed. Not mockingly, but with genuine concern. Are all humans so fragile? She had asked their supervisor, a blob-like Venturi administrator. They are a curiosity, the Venturi had bubbled back. Weak gravity world. Thin atmosphere. No natural armor. But the council insists on diversity hiring. Dr. Arden had pretended not to hear. He always pretended not to hear. Today's experiment involved studying a specimen from Targos Prime, a massive feline predator the locals called a striped death. The creature massed nearly 300 kilograms of pure muscle, fang, and claw. Even sedated, it had taken 4 Krell guards to wrestle it into the reinforced examination chamber. We need tissue samples, Zyrax announced, her mandibles clicking with authority. The creature's regenerative properties could revolutionize combat medicine. Dr. Arden looked up from his datapad, his soft brown eyes meeting her compound ones. It's waking up ahead of schedule. The sedative isn't working as expected. Zyrax's antennae twitched in dismissal. Then we administer another dose, simple. The metabolism is burning through it too fast. Another dose could kill it. His voice was quiet but firm. We should wait. We don't have time to wait. The council expects results in 48 hours. Zyrax moved toward the control panel. I'll handle the extraction myself. She was halfway through the airlock when the alarm started screaming. The striped death had fully awakened and it was not pleased. The creature's roar shook the reinforced glass, its amber eyes blazing with primal fury. It hurled itself against the containment barrier and impossibly cracks began to spider across the surface. Impossible. Zyrax's voice rose in pitch. That's Durasteel reinforced polymer. Nothing short of a plasma cannon should. The barrier shattered. 300 kilograms of apex predator exploded into the lab in a shower of crystalline fragments. Zyrax barely managed to activate her personal shield before the creature's claws raked across where her thorax had been a millisecond before. She rolled, reaching for her plasma pistol, but the creature was already turning toward easier prey. Dr. Cale Arden stood frozen, his datapad still clutched in one hand. Run, you fool, Zyrax screamed, firing a shot that went wide as the creature charged. The human would be torn apart. Those fragile bones would splinter like Dr. Arden moved. He didn't run. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he stepped forward, dropping into a stance that seemed absurdly inadequate for facing a predator that outweighed him 3-1. His knees bent slightly, his center of gravity lowered, and his hands came up not in surrender but in preparation. The striped death launched itself through the air, all fury and fang and killing intent. What happened next would be analyzed in slow-motion replays for years to come across the Galactic Council's training facilities. Dr. Arden didn't dodge. He moved into the attack, his timing so precise it seemed choreographed. His hands found purchase under the creature's forelegs as it descended, and then, impossibly inexplicably, he caught it. Not just caught it. He redirected its momentum, pivoting on one foot while his legs absorbed the impact. The striped death's roar turned into a confused yowl as it found itself lifted, rotated, and then held, completely held above the human's head. Zyrax's mandibles hung open in shock. Dr. Arden stood there, 300 kilograms of thrashing, furious predator suspended above him, his arms locked, his legs braced. His face was calm, almost serene despite the obvious strain. The creature twisted and snarled but couldn't break free from his grip. The sedative injector, Dr. Arden said, his voice steady despite supporting more than twice his body weight. In my right pocket, please. Zyrax scrambled forward, her earlier arrogance completely forgotten. She retrieved the injector with trembling hands and pressed it against the creature's flank. The striped death struggles gradually weakened. then stopped. Only then did Dr. Arden lower the beast gently to the floor, stepping back as it settled into unconsciousness. The silence in the lab was absolute. How? Zyrax finally managed, her translator barely able to capture her bewilderment. Your bones, they should have shattered. Your muscles should have torn. You're from a low-gravity world. This defies every principle of... Earth gravity is actually quite high by galactic standards, Dr. Arden interrupted gently, rolling his shoulders. About 1.3 times what most species consider comfortable. We evolved to carry that weight every moment of our lives. He picked up his fallen datapad. And these fragile bones? They're not solid like your exoskeleton. They're hollow, with an internal structure that distributes force. More flexible, less likely to catastrophically fail under sudden stress. He walked to the unconscious predator and knelt beside it, already checking its vital signs. Humans also have something most species don't: fast-twitch muscle fibers in high concentration. We're endurance hunters by evolution. We can't sprint as fast as most predators initially, but we never stop. We overheat less, we adapt better, and when we need explosive strength... He glanced up at her. Well, you saw. Zyrax felt something unfamiliar wash over her. Respect certainly, but also something else. Fear? No, awe. I underestimated you, she said quietly. I apologize. Dr. Arden smiled, that peculiar expression that showed his flat, grinding teeth. Most species do. We're used to it. He returned his attention to the sedated creature. Now shall we collect those tissue samples? We have 48 hours after all. As Zyrax helped him prepare the equipment, she caught herself glancing at the human scientist with new eyes. How many other species in the galaxy had dismissed humanity as weak? How many had assumed that fragility and frailty were the same thing? She made a mental note to read the human file more carefully, particularly the sections on their history, something about persistence hunting, marathon running, and the fact that they'd reached the top of their planet's food chain without claws, venom, or natural armor. Just those fragile bones, clever brains, and an apparently inexhaustible stubbornness. Commander Zyrax decided that perhaps humanity's greatest strength wasn't that they were strong despite their fragility. It was that they'd never let their fragility stop them from becoming strong in the first place. Dr. Kyle Arden caught her staring and raised an eyebrow quizzically. She clicked her mandibles in what passed for a Krell smile and returned to work. Some lessons, she reflected, were best learned through demonstration.